Hello, welcome back to Method. My name is Gav. I'll be your installation agent for today. Today we're going to be taking a look at Record's Firewall fire shutter system. You can find this, of course, as always. There will be a link down below in the description if you're interested in it. I already have it in my inventory. It's by Record. They make a lot of really cool things, and of course, I will link their server down below as always. So here's what you get in the kit. Just a quick overview. You of course get your shutter packs. You have 2 display types, 2 key switches in different themes. You have 4 manual button types, a remote and a key switch, along with an interactive tablet, interactive desktop. You have a timing unit and an emergency stop. I will go into more detail about what those are in just a second. Alright, so first let's take a look at our shutters. We of course have shutters, but we also have curtains too. There is a difference. The shutters are made out of a metal material versus the curtains are made out of fabric. You can take a quick look. So here's a shutter material. You can change these. Just be aware that these have a built-in LED underneath. So it looks like a grate. It's going to look like an LED. I'll tell you and show you how to turn that off in just a minute. You have 2 curtain types, one with windows and one without. This one has windows on it. This one does not. Of course, they are themed to their shutter frame. Everything is very configurable. So if you really wanted to, you can change the color of all these. You can mess around with everything. Right. So just take a quick look at one of these shutters. All the settings are about the same to configure. You have closed on start. You have emergency release distance, emergency release time, fireproof, LEDs enabled, object detection enabled, object hold time, software, speed. This is deprecated. I would not mess with that. But event queue. Close on start. If you have like a shopping center and you want a certain place to be closed on start, you would just tick this value right here, and then that shutter will then be closed whenever the game starts. Your emergency release distance, this is how many studs the shutter will go up whenever you press this emergency release button right here, or this green one down here, or any of on there. Emergency release time, this is how long it will wait to close back. Fireproof, this basically makes it so that way it cannot be edited within game. It just changed this lock right here, so if it's locked, then you can't change it with anything inside the testing. Alright. LEDs enabled. If you're using like a great texture for this, such as like a security shutter instead of a fire shutter, change this to false so it doesn't actually change color or material, it just moves, okay? Object detection. If you are underneath the shutter, say a character is right here and this is closing, will it bonk you in the head and then stop, or will it bonk you in the head and crush you? I would keep this on, I'll set this back, I would keep this on true, personally, but to each your own. Object hold time, similar to the emergency release time. How long it should wait for something to be cleared out of its way to then continue shutting. Even if you are still underneath the shutter and the time expires, it will close. Software, you shouldn't have to really mess with this a whole lot. This is mostly for localization purposes. And then speed, this is how quickly it moves up and down. Keep in mind, this uses tween service, if I recall. Yes, it does. So sometimes the speed may need to be negative to go faster. It really just depends on the scale, position, all that fun stuff. Alright, so configuration is about the same for all of these. You have this simple display right here, gives you a very, very quick status right there, and gives you a little blink and audibles of what's going on. Okay. The case makes this beautiful sound. Sorry, it is very loud. I didn't think it was going to be that loud, but it is. Keep in mind, this is open source due to Roblox's new terms, so just keep that in mind. So you can customize almost everything about this, just don't rebrand it. And of course, no reselling. Alright, connected shutter. This is an object value. So if you have, let's say, a different zone, see these folders, we'll get into that in a minute. This thing will only flash if one of these, if this shutter is affected. Alright. Mute, it silences the entire beep at all, like permanently. So regardless if it's fire or anything, it'll just stay mute. Optionally, you could have sound on fire only. So manual operation using these or even one of these will not affect the beep only if it is connected to a supported fire alarm system or by the API. Speed, I don't think this is meant to be in there. Let me just check. Yeah, no, so this does not apply to this. Alright. You have this large display right here for longer messages like fire shutters closing, all that fun stuff. You can configure everything. I don't think the speed's supposed to be in there either. Connected shutter, same thing as this thing. It will only be only the connected shutter will show the message right there. Your message configuration, closing message, the text that shows whenever the shutter is closing, opening message, vice versa, whenever it's opening. Whenever the shutter has been put into an emergency release with that little green button, hit message if the shutter hits something, timed close. So if you have it set on a relay or a timer, it'll wait X amount of seconds and it'll say fire shutters closing and timer, and then with the other warning symbol, and same thing with the time open fire shutters opening and in that timer. No need to edit this. This already has the built-in logic. Okay. Let's go in here. These are key switches. You really don't need to configure these at all. There's not anything you can't configure with these. Same with these buttons right here. I do have a pack of these that are whitelisted, group and player. So if you want only certain people to be able to operate them, I will put that down below, of course, as always. Um, so you have manual shutter operation. It's a standard button. Press it once. Let's say it's open, it'll close, and vice versa. If it's closed, it'll open. Then you have two buttons. You have open it or close it. This is your emergency shutter release. You press this, and oh, hey, looky there, the shutter is now going up a little bit for you to get out of its way. This remote pops up the UI right here, and it lets you control the zone and shutters that you're affecting. Key for said key switches. Industrialized button mount, so you have emergency stop, you have shutter up, shutter down, and emergency release. You have an emergency stop right here, and a timer unit. This timer unit allows you to control an entire zone on a time-based schedule. So this close time, what time should this or should that zone close? You can find that right here, clock time. Okay, so close time, it'll close at 17, so that's 5 o'clock to convert it, and this will close at, or this will open at 10, so 10 a.m. If we were to convert it to, all that fun stuff. Open by default. Is the shutter open by default? Yeah, I'd probably keep that open. This affects the entire zone, so you don't have to go through each and every single one of them, click close by default, or close on start, so that's pretty helpful. Now in these interactive controllers, this must remain in the system. You can hide it in your game somewhere. This must remain in the system for you to integrate it with a fire alarm system, assuming you're using this built-in configuration file right here. If you're interfacing it directly with the API, you will need the token that's inside of here to use the API. So I would just hide this somewhere and call it a day. You can have multiple of these. Just make sure you rename one of them to be something else. So let's say I have this. Make sure there's at least one firewall interactive controller, and then we'll call this high, for example. All right, that'll work. You then, of course, have your desktop. Configuration is the exact same thing about always logged in. Is the system always logged in? Change that to false if this is in a public area. This is your code, what the code it requires. So Wookie does 1, 2, 3, 4. Change that. All right, configuration. Imagine that it's the exact same thing. This speed is not needed in here, so you can change these however you want. All right. What about zoning? Because you don't want all of them to be controlled by one key switch and whatever. I mean, if you do, that's cool, but you don't really want to. All right. Super simple. As a side note, do not put anything in zone 0. This is basically like an entire system control. So if you were to have this button right here and you were to have like 35 zones, all 35 zones would be operated if this was in zone 0. Alright, keep that in mind. So you want everything from 1 and up. They provide you a couple zones already. It's really not that difficult. Press on your keyboard Control or Command and D to duplicate it. Rename this a number value. This does not support strings yet, according to Printer Sofa, the owner. All right. Then find your shutter that you want. I'm going to duplicate this and pop you right here. Beautiful. Put you in zone 2. All right. Now that I want this to have a key switch and an emergency release button on one side. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Let me build you a quick little thing real quick to show you what I'm talking about. Another amazing video regarding these that might have something that I just missed is provided by Cookie Tech, and I will be more than happy to put them down below. They are actually insanely cool. They do miss a couple things that kind of got me, which is why I wanted to start on this video. But really, they did an excellent job. So good job to Cookie Tech, by the way. They were even endorsed by Printer Sofa, just so you know. So that's pretty cool. This is, of course, just a demonstration board. This is not by any means supposed to look like an actual installation. This is just for you to know how you're supposed to install it. Um, you can do this with a union as well if you really want to mess about with all that. I don't. Um, but if you do, you will have to configure a couple other things within the wall itself. So just keep that in mind as well. Alright. Now then you have your beautiful, beautiful fire shutter right here. Go ahead and put a part up here and whoosh. Okay, go ahead and grab your controls. Oh, wait, I stick them right here. Alright, put these. You could add trunking if you really want. I'm not doing that, to be honest, but you are more than welcome to, as always. Let's say this is the inside. You can put this on either side. I like putting mine next to the side, personally. And, of course, have a key switch on the outside for control. Okay. People really like this longer bar, but personally, I really like this smaller little controller. It looks really nice, in my opinion, so why not? Yeah. You can flush mount it, I guess. I would probably not. I'm going to add conduit to this, or trunking. My personal preference, of course, to you. Alright, go in here, go into connected shutter. This is, boop, and boop, sound on fire only. Yes, please. Alright. So let's say this was connecting to larger areas. This is maybe not the best representation of this, but yeah. Okay. And there you go. Very simple. Um, and of course, you can do that for all the other zones. Now, what's this config thing I popped into earlier? This allows you to connect a fire alarm system directly into it using the API. So presets, set this to true if you want to use any of these, set this to false if you're just using the API. As you can see, it has a lot of things in here, so that's pretty cool. This is your system name. You find this within workspace, so .system, and then it'll just be right, it'll pop up, and then you press enter. For this instance, I'll be using the Valiant, just for demonstration purposes. You should probably use something more up to date, like maybe Evo 2, but keep in mind it doesn't have detection enabled on it, so it may not be the most reliable. Right. These call points are absolutely massive. Okay, and of course you would have your panel somewhere else, except for right there. For extra realism, you are welcome to add a relay from the firing system right into there, but you are not required to, of course. Alright, cool. Now then, to connect this system, we're going to go into here. Theta Valiant. And here it changes to Valiant. So that, okay. Super easy. Now that whenever I set the system off, the shutter will close after this number, so 30 seconds, and then it'll wait 30 once the system is set to open back up. If you must change this remote name right here, make sure it's in here as well, so it doesn't like kick you for exporting the system. Just as a heads up, okay? And we're gonna play here. We're just gonna mess around with it for just a second so you can get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. It'd be very helpful if we were to anchor everything first. Give me one sec. Apologies for that. I should also probably give you guys a little headphone warning, because this system can be quite loud at times, and my apologies for that. Yeah, like see, this is zone 1, so if I were to just pass the view, voila. Alright, now let's say, oh hey, there's a fire, which probably people know. See how it's not closing immediately? There's a timer. After that expires, the shutter will then close. Alright. I'm not really going to go into API information as of right now because honestly, I don't think that anyone's actually going to really use it. This has a lot of really cool built-in integrations as it stands. But if you must know how to use the API, go in here, go into controller, scroll all the way down. This is your API. Do not forget this. Fire this network. You use this key right here, this entire string. Your zone is a number. Your command is any one of these. And then your operation time, they have at C time. Put that as 0 if you're using open, close, or release. Anything else, you put a number right there and it works, okay? Alright. Well, that's about it for this video, guys. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and if you have any other suggestions for what you'd like to see set up, please feel free to let me know, alright? Make sure... English not, okay? Make sure to have yourself a good day, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya.